Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Safe Room. I'm your boy, the
Turn up, turn up, turn up. I am doing excellent. I'm blessed and highly favored. Super excited to be here. Thank you once again for having me on your podcast. It's going to be amazing, man. And I just want to do a shout out to you. You're doing amazing and great work. You're inspiring so many people, changing so many people's lives. And guess what? You're almost at that 100 episode, which is a big, big, big milestone. So congrats to you. Big up. Keep doing amazing and great work.
yo, man. It's like I said, man. Real recognize real, bro. So I appreciate the love, and guys, like he said, bro, we're getting close to 100. So listen, man, we're cooking right now. We're on a hot streak.
For sure, facts. Talk that talk.
Yeah, man, for sure, for sure. But today we're gonna have a really good conversation. We're gonna get into, your personal career, how that's moved a lot of mountains, in my personal opinion. Like honestly, like you are someone that inspires me, like for real. Like I remember meeting you for the
Thank you.
first
Blessings.
time, and like I was just so touched and moved away. I'm like, damn, like it was like one of those conversations where I went home and I was reflecting, like, shit, damn, I need to like reevaluate myself.
Ah, listen, iron sharpens iron, man. So, great minds think alike. So, same here, man. You inspire me too. So,
Ah,
for
man.
sure.
Appreciate it. All right, cool. Before we get into the main questions, we got to start off with the hot
Mm,
seat segment. Listen, man, four simple questions. Just make sure you answer them to your best ability, man. You ready?
For sure. Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right, cool. So, question number one. So, outside of the work that you do, tell me something about yourself in one sentence.
So, in one sentence, outside of the work that I do, I would say I am a spiritual leader and I take big pride in that due to the fact that a lot of young people in this generation, they're lost. They don't know their identity, they don't know their purpose, and they're really looking for clarity. I think the work that I do as a spiritual leader, I help mentor them, I help guide them. And deepening a stronger relationship with God. And I think, when God is at the forefront of how you live your life, I think it helps you have a level of standard, and it causes you to do things that are righteous and make better decisions. And that's all I want to do. I believe that your DNA doesn't define your destiny, your decisions do. So if you can make great decisions consistently, I'm telling you, it can take your life to a whole new level.
Bro, that line, your DNA doesn't define your destiny, your decisions. My goodness, that hit my chest right there. But I feel that's so true, man. Like a lot of people feel like, just because you were born a certain way, it's like, oh, I'm destined for something. And obviously there's like different ways of looking at it. But I think for you, you kind of hit it on the nail. Like the decision that you make are like they lead to your destiny. So if you decide to like, go down a certain path or a certain direction, then you are going to expect a certain outcome based on the decisions that you make. So for people who
For
always
sure.
say that, oh, why am I not there and this person's there? Or like, how come I'm still stuck in this situation? This person's starting to see all the benefits. It's like, well, it's the decision that you make. Maybe you didn't do something that you should have done, and because of that, you're in this position. And like I'm really glad that you touched upon that because again, a lot of people don't really see that. They kind of assume that everything is kind of owed to them. And I know you mentioned that this generation's lost, and obviously, I got my takes on this generation too. I mean, technically, I am Generation Z, but I don't associate with that generation that much. So I definitely feel you on that sentiment.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah, man, for sure. Okay, cool. Going to the second question. So, what's the best piece of advice you've given to someone and received for yourself?
So the best advice I have given to someone, I would say, is choose your circle wisely. And that's in the chapter of my book. I believe it's chapter 14, starts in mind, how to create the mindset you need for success. So go check it out on my website, www.khalildorival.com. And it talks about, auditing the people you hang out with. I tell people all the time, you are the average of the 5 people you hang out with. If you hang out with 5 people who are broke, who are lazy, who's not doing anything with their life, guess what? You're going to be the sixth. If you're around people who are ambitious, who are motivated, who are goal setters, guess what? You're going to be the sixth. So you want to be around people who can motivate you, people who inspire you, people who can uplift you. If your best friend is not bringing the best out of you, then that person shouldn't be your best friend. So you got to do an audit. Is this relationship serving me or is it hurting me? If it's hurting you, guess what? You got to make a decision. You got to make a choice. I can't make that for you. But if it's serving you, if it has value, then guess what? You want to cultivate that relationship. And I think every relationship have to be reciprocal. It has to be a give and take relationship. You have to add value to people's lives, and they have to add value to yours. So you're probably like, okay, Khalil, how do I attract the right people? Because the people around me, they're just not, people of standards or value. They don't have great characters or morals. Like, how do I have those, high achievers around me? Well, I say it starts with you. Let me say this again. It starts with you. You will attract who you are. So guess what? If you want better quality friends, become a better quality friend. You know what I'm saying? Like, start learning, start developing, start growing, start working on you. You have flaws, you have imperfections. You know what I'm saying? So if you become a better person, I'm telling you, it'll improve the quality of your relationships, and then you have the right people around you. And guess what? You are going to reach your goals. You're going to reach your success a lot quicker. I'm telling you. My mom used to tell me that, tell me who your friends are and I tell you who you are. And I was like, yo, I didn't understand it back then, but I realized you do the things that the people around you are doing. So if there's a habit that you don't like doing and the people around you are doing it, guess what? Cut your association with them. And you can listen, you don't have to cut people off. I'm not I don't believe in cutting people off. I believe in loving people from a distance. Like, yo, I love you, but I can't do what you're doing right now because I'm going in a different direction.
Yeah, you hit all the nails right there, man. You hit every single nail right there, man. Especially like just loving from a distance. Listen, I got people that's like, yo, I've known them since like kindergarten, like in school, a long time. We have like a long relationship. But even it's like, look, what I'm trying to do with this podcast, what I'm trying to do with me as an upcoming entrepreneur, it's like you're just not in the vision because like you're not giving anything that's going to be beneficial for me, and I can support you, but if you can't support me, like just like love me from a distance, like if I'm having an
Mm-hmm.
event and you come out, I appreciate it, but like I'm not sure if I can just talk with you in terms of like the behind the scenes stuff, the things that really need to get to
Exactly.
get to work. And I
Mm-hmm.
definitely feel everything that you said right
Exactly.
there, man. Like it's right on the nail, bro. Like just find that inner circle that's going to help you get to the next level. And it's not just saying like let me get a bunch of yes men. Get those people that will tell you straight to your face,
Mm-hmm. Challenge you.
right?
For
Like
sure.
challenge you, just like, yo, look, this is cool. I think you could do this to make it better. And don't look
Mm-hmm.
at it as like negativity. Look at it as like
Nope.
like real criticism that's like it's just really good that helps build your confidence in something. So now when it's like, oh, this person's doing that, and it's because like, he took that advice, it goes to show like, you reap the benefits. So bro, Khalil, man, like I said, you hit all the nails right there, man.
It comes from experience.
Of course, man. Of course. Perfect. Perfect. All right. Going into the next question. So, an interesting fact that you rarely share about yourself.
Interesting fact I really share about myself. I would say that I'm a really, really, really like avid reader. Like, I love reading. I read all the time. I listen to podcasts all the time. When it comes to personal development and growing, like, that's all me. Some people may think it weird because sometimes you want to play music, you want to watch movies and do all those stuff that like entertains you. And me is like, no, I'm like really about growing me. Like, I have this model that I'm trying to get 1% better every single day. Like, what new skill can I develop? What new information can I learn? Because information changes situation. I'm trying to put myself in position to win in life. And in order to do that, I have to become a new version of myself. Like, the version of me right now is not going to get me to where I need to be. So I need to grow, I need to learn, I need to develop. And I think, you have to program your mindset. There's a statistics, like psychologists said that we have on average 65,000 transactional thoughts a day, and they said that 85% of those thoughts are negative. That's so crazy. Have you ever wondered, like, why am I always talking myself down, or I don't feel like going to work? You know what I'm saying? Or why am I not where I want to be? Or I'm just feeling depressed, don't want to get out of bed, or maybe I don't want to eat, or, I'm just having self pity for myself. Have you ever had that feeling? I know I have, right? The reason why you have that is because most of your thoughts are negative based on the information, that's around you, the things you listen to, the things that you watch. And I tell people that, what entertains you trains you, and what you tune into, you turn into. So I want to turn into the people I want to be. So I got to study and learn from successful people, because success leaves clues. Like, there's a blueprint for success. So if I do what successful people do, guess what? I will get, or I will have what successful people have. So I'm big on just renewing my mind, reprogramming my mindset for success. And this is why I wrote the book Change Starts in the Mind, because I don't believe success is a secret. Success is actually a mindset. Let me say this again. Success is not a secret. Success is a mindset.
Yeah, man, absolutely, dude. Dude, I usually I follow up with something, but you're hitting everything so much. It's like, yo, I don't have to follow up. Like, let's just keep it going. Let's just keep the positivity, man. So we're just going into the final question for this
I
segment.
told you I'm coming with it. Turn me up. Turn me up.
He's like, hey, yo, listen, don't give me time. I ain't done. I ain't done. Perfect, perfect, man. All right, final question for the hot seat segment. What is your personal safe room?
Ooh. I love that. I would say my personal safe room is my bedroom. It's my room. And the reason why I say that is because I think we live in a busy world, and there's a lot of like hustle and bustle. Like, literally, when we wake up in the morning, we have to get ready, brush our teeth, shower, eat breakfast, go to school, go to work, and so forth, spend time with the family, whatever the case is, work on our dreams, our goals, our business, whatever the case, we're always in that hustle and bustle. I think, we as people, or as individuals, we need to take time for solitude. Like, let me say this again. We need to take some time to just be alone and separate yourself from the world and escape. And I believe my room is my safe haven. I'm able to do that and just focus and hear from God. Like, God, what do you want me to do today? I know there's so many things that I can do. Like, I can do social media posting, I could be, working on sales. But God, what do you want me to do at this moment in time? And I think when you have time to just be alone, be by yourself, you're able to think. Like, a lot of us are just operating out of our subconscious mind, and we're just doing things habitually. And we're not questioning why we are doing this. What is this serving? Is it like, are you intentional and deliberate about every action activity that you do? And if you're not, you got to step back and say, hey, I need to know the why behind what I'm doing, the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I think when you can get behind that and understand and have clarity, listen, clarity is power. Like, you'll be able to make quantum leaps and jumps in your personal life, in your career life. So I tell people, just be alone, be by yourself, have time to think. You know what I'm saying? Find a safe space, whether it's your room, whether it's in nature. I know people love nature. I know it's, maybe, a car ride on your own, but get in your zone, get by yourself. And, you're just one idea from being a millionaire. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know what the inspiration from God or whatever you believe in, right, can give you, that's going to take you to where you want to be, or help you get to where you want to be. So, like, I also love, when I'm in the bathroom, just, having a shower and just clearing my mind, because I'm able to get so much ideas and say, oh, wow, let me try doing this. And I know when I act on it, because we got to be action takers. We can't just be hearers and listening. We got to do the work. We got to put in work. We got to work really hard. And I know when I implement those stuff that I think about, or idea that comes to my mind, I know it produces fruit and it produces results. So yeah, that's my safe space.
Bro, when you said about the whole in the bathroom and get the thoughts, I feel like everyone relates to that. Like, I feel like everyone gets their best time to watch it. Like, you're in the shower and like you're thinking, it's like, damn, like I actually got a good idea, Even like sometimes you might be having those like musical concerts. You're just singing your mind out, and it's like,
Mhm.
oh wait, an idea just pops in the back of my head. So like, I definitely like
Yep.
in that statement, bro.
Yep.
Yeah, man, for sure. But yeah, that was the hot seat segment, and like, you didn't. That was not just hot seat. That was like on fire. Like you set the seat on fire now. Like
I know. I think I should get up from my seat now.
that was perfect, absolutely perfect, bro. And we're just getting started. So let's get into the main questions. But before, I just want to let people know who's listening how Khalil and I first met. I believe it was the Branded Conference that happened last year in August, and I remember attending it, and like you kind of came in like like just before I think the intermission or lunch, and Valerie was the first one who introduced me or introduced you to me. So shout out to Valerie for doing this. But
Yes.
I remember us talking, and it was like the energy was just there. Like we were just like in the moment, we were connecting, we were vibing. I absolutely loved it. So like this episode has been a long time coming. So like obviously
Yes.
August, February, you guys do the math. It's been a while. I know you've been busy. I've been busy. So again, I'm really glad to have you on. But I did want to ask you the first question just to kick things off. Take me back to the first time, where you were able to, motivate someone or have a conversation that just really uplift a person, and it made them want to, achieve their dreams, achieve their goals. And like what made you want to apply, what you do right now today as like a ongoing thing moving forward?
A really, really great question. So it started back when I was probably 19 years old. I was really young. And to be honest, I didn't even have a plan. Like I knew that I wanted to help people. I knew I wanted to change lives, but I didn't know like what form it was going to be, what platform it would be. And I remember being a young person and going to my community center. I'm like, okay, I know community centers does like they do work in the community, so I think that's probably the the great place to start. So I went to the community center and I spoke with one of the staff, and I was like, hey, I have these gifts, I have these talents. I was like doing music, I was in between music, I was in between like speaking, and I'm like, yo, I just want to go on community inspired. Like, where should I start? And he told me like, have you ever thought about like doing workshops? And I was like, oh no, not really. Like I'm like, yo, how do you do a workshop? He's like, you put a presentation together and then you reach out to different organizations and then you facilitate on a specific topic. So I was like, okay, that sounds like a good idea. But I'm like, how am I gonna do that? So I literally was inspired that, I could do something to help people. So I went home, went on my laptop, went on Google and like how to create a workshop. And I literally like studied it, got so much information on the topic. And then I believe my first topic was on self identity. Yeah, it was something on self identity and purpose, something along those lines. And I remember reaching out to organizations. A lot of them were ignoring me. So if you're out there and you are rejected, just know that rejection is hidden selection. Like sometimes you are rejected for something that's good, for something that's even better, right? So you never have to worry, and it's all a learning process. So I remember getting rejected, and I finally got an organization in Rexdale. It was like a men's group, and they said, "Hey, Khalil, I want you to come in." So I remember preparing about. I believe I brought my mom. I brought a friend to help me set up, and this was my first presentation. And I'm like, yo, I'm gonna come with it. So I came even with like my clothing brand at this time, and I facilitated my first workshop. And when I did my first workshop, the staff who was working with that group, he was a male staff. He said, "How long you been doing this for?" And I said, "This is actually my first workshop." He said, "No way." He's like, "King, you look like you've been doing this for years. Like you literally have a gift. You need to continue doing this." And at the end of the workshop, I had young people coming up to me saying, "Thank you so much. You impacted my life. What you said was so powerful. It resonated with me." They're like, "Oh, how can I buy your clothing brand?" Young people had to leave a little bit earlier, and they were crying to like the facilitator or the organizer of the group, and they're like, "Oh, I want one of his hat. Can you give one to me?" or whatever the case is. So it was just a blessing. They came up to me like, "Oh, can you mentor me?" And like after that workshop, I was like, wow, like I need to continue doing this work. Like that was the best feeling. Like there's no better feeling than actually helping other people. And then I knew like then I had to go for it. I need to go all in, and I started just developing the craft and continue to facilitate workshops. And now I'm here. Now I'm here where I kind of cater to more of the mental wellness side. So I started a company called Khalil Dorival Enterprise where I help young people reduce anxiety and stress so they can prevent the feeling of depression through mental wellness workshops. So the whole goal is to remove the stigma, bias, and shame around mental health. And this is why so many people are suffering in silence, and create safe spaces and healthy dialogue so people can really address the issues and problems they have. And then my goal is to give them the tools and resources they need to not just practice self care and learn how to cope in a healthy way, but also to facilitate their own healing. Because I believe hurt people, and broken children become broken adults and end up cutting people. So we got to make sure that we're helping people become whole, and whatever that looks like in your journey, as long as you get the tools and resources you need, I think it's definitely a goal that you can accomplish.
Yeah, man. I love that. And I love how like at the time being you were such a go-getter at the time. It's just like I wanna like, do this and I wanna like explore like what could this possibly be. And I'm really glad, you were able to find that with, your workshops, your facilitation. And I feel a lot of people sometimes are just afraid to take that first step because they're so worried about the outcome without actually looking at, the potential work itself. People are just ready to just skip ahead of like what needs to be done and just of like what could happen. Like, oh man, like I might fail or they might say no and everything. And then one thing I've learned as an entrepreneur, you have to get used to saying no. And it's not to say that as a bad thing, but I think the more that
Yes,
you understand that, you going out for those opportunities, you're actually building that credibility. Regardless of a yes or no, you taking that step and going out there and saying, you know what, I want to do this. I want to do that. That's build your credibility because now people see that, okay, this person's out here. Or, you know what? Even though you didn't get this position, I'm gonna, put you as a reference for this person. I'm gonna, connect you with this. And that's something I've started to do like recently. Just hearing from you, it made me flash back how at the beginning of this year, I'm starting to take more initiative. Like, if I see an event, I'm like, hey, you think I could come in there, like interview some people? And lo and behold it, this weekend, I'm actually be attending an event and they're allowing me to, interview some people at this, entrepreneurship event. And
go.
I'm like, bro, I would have never thought about even pitching this last year. And now here I am doing this now. And I'm like, yo, this is something I want to keep doing, building myself up. So I love that, you had that just confidence, that mentality to just go after it. And, again, I'm really glad to see that it's really benefited for you, for your organization as well. So, man, again, it's a beautiful thing to see.
Yes, you definitely you nailed it. The two hardest thing is to start, and the second thing is to finish. So many people don't start because they have analysis of paralysis, right? They analyze and they're like, okay, I need to wait till the perfect moment and perfect time and perfect product. And I want to tell you today, there's no perfect time, there's no perfect product, there's no perfect moment. You create that perfect time, that perfect moment and product, right? You create it, you decide when it is. And I say, hey, just start, right? And figure it out later. Just say yes. And my acronym for yes is you empower self, right? You empower self. So just say yes. Decide to do it. And like, you take the leap of faith. You jump off the bridge and then you build a plane later. So you don't need all the pieces to the puzzle right away. You don't need to see the full picture. No, like that's why it takes faith. You need to operate a faith. You have to see the invisible. You have to see you accomplishing or reaching that milestone before it actually happens. And a lot of people don't do what they have been called to do because they live in fear instead of living their dreams. They
Mm,
live in fear instead of living their dreams. And what fear is illusion. It means false evidence appearing real. So 80% of things that like we imagine that's gonna happen, that we're anxious about actually never happens, right? It's just imagination that we make up in our mind. So guess what? I never, tell people to like disregard fear. No, fear is important because it protects you. It's a protective mechanism from perceived threat or danger. So I tell people embrace the fear, feel the fear, and do it anyways. Like it's normal, like to have fears, but you can't let it hinder you. You can't let it stop you. You can't let it hold you back. You gotta have faith and understand that like my reason for accomplishing or doing that thing is greater than my fears.
Bro, I feel like you kind of answered like my next question, which was about like the importance to drive individuals to their highest point and strive for success. Because I feel again like you were like you were just going in like a drum at fast speed, bro. Oh man, but no, yeah. If you did want to extend on that question, like, what is so important for you to drive individuals to that highest point, making them put themselves in a good position that they're confident and they're able to be those go getters that see that high level of success, and also also like have that acceptance for themselves and like their flaws, because you did mention it, like not everyone's like gonna be able to succeed on that perfect time or perfect moment. Before I tried to be a perfectionist, or I would probably say my mindset was always like everything needs to be perfect and perfect, until I got smacked in the face so many times that it made me realize like, yo, like what am I doing? I'm actually holding back, because I feel like if you strive for perfection, your potential's being wasted, because it's just like now you're just
Exactly.
stuck in this one area where like this needs to happen, where it's like you can go into so much different lanes and avenues that you didn't even think were out there.
Mm,
And like once you explore and you see it, you're now looking back for full circle and you're like, bro, like look where I'm at right now. So like I did want to like, ask this and just extend like, what is important for you to drive individuals to the highest points, but also find acceptance of oneself and their flaws.
amazing. I'm loving the questions. This is dope. I would say that it's all about, the brand that we stand for. My company is called Khalil Dorival Enterprise, and we like to say change starts in the mind. But we also encourage people out there to first love themselves, which is our acronym for FLY. And I think it's important if you want to achieve your higher self, right? It starts with you working on yourself. Let me say this again. If you want to achieve your higher self, it starts with you working on yourself. A lot of people think like when running or operating a business, like they have to, like know everything. They have to have a super dope business plan. They have to have a dope accountant, all these things in place. And I want to tell people like most business fail, right? And it's not that business fail, it's actually people fail, right? Businesses don't fail because there's people who's running a business, the same business or a similar business, and they're actually successful in it. So you can't say this is a failing business. No, business don't fail, people do. The people that operate the business actually fail. So as an entrepreneur who's building their dream, they have to work on themselves, and it starts with self-love. Because listen, if you don't love yourself, if you don't have the confidence in yourself, if you don't believe in yourself, you are not going to run a successful business, because you are going to look at your shortcomings, you're going to look at your failures, you're going to have your setbacks, you're going to have, those road bumps, you know what I'm saying? You're going to have that, those things that are going to make you feel that you can't get to where you need to be, right? That imposter syndrome. That negative mindset. You're gonna have people, haters, talking you out of your dream. You're gonna have all those things coming against you. And if you don't love yourself, if you don't have that self confidence in yourself, if you don't believe in yourself, you can accomplish those things. So I tell people, hey, pour into you, pour into your cup first, right? And that's by practicing self-care. That's by listening to positive messages, reading books. That's with hanging around great people, doing things that make you feel good, make you happy, bring you pleasure. And I want to talk about like this specific part because I feel we bypass it so many times. No one talks about food and nutrition and how it affects your mind, right? The studies have shown that 95% of serotonin is in your gut. And serotonin is a happy chemical. It's a chemical in your body that makes you feel happy. So if you're eating garbage and junk food and putting things in your body and you're saying, oh, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, I'm going to work hard, I'm going to, no sleep and all this stuff, you're not taking care of yourself, you're not going to be on that frequency or vibration that's going to get you to be a high level thinker or a high level performer. So we got to start taking care of ourselves, not just mentally, but physically, emotionally, and spiritually. What are a few things? I put this in my book. What are a few things that you can do every single day that's going to take care of your overall well being? You know what I'm saying? because I believe when you are feeling healthier, when you're in a great mindset, when you're operating from high vibration and high energy, listen, you will perform in your business. You'll feel motivated. You'll feel inspired. You'll feel uplifted. You'll feel like, going after your goals. Like, I know for me, there's time where I don't want to do because it's just so much work. But I know because I take care of myself and I invest in myself. Your greatest investment is not in the car, not in the home, not in the jewelry, not in that nice mic that you have there, Sean. The greatest investment you can make is in yourself. So I'm intentional and deliberate about taking breaks, taking my nap, getting sleep, eating fruits, eating my veggies. You know what I'm saying? Listening to inspiration. I'm intentional about meditation, clearing my mind, being able to logic and reason, operate from, a clear head space. And if you're not clear in your head, listen, you're going to have confusion with your business. You're going to be like doing one thing, you're going to be doing another thing. You're not going to, be organized. So I need people to really pour into themselves. And guess what? When you pour into yourself, it's not selfish, it's actually selfless, because what you're doing is you're giving people the best version of you. Right, my cup is full, my cup is, overflowing. I'm giving you a part of me that, like, from abundance, because every single day I'm getting better, I'm getting smarter, I'm getting stronger, I'm getting healthier. So you're giving the abundance of me. Some people are giving people what they actually need, and when you give people what you actually need for yourself, you make them a thief. When you give people what you actually need for yourself, you make them a thief, because you're giving them something that you need for you to be the best version of yourself. So I'm telling you, if you become a better person, you'll perform better in your business. You'll run your business, more successfully.
I definitely feel you on the whole self care and like self love and pouring in your cup first. Because again, I feel a lot of us, especially like you and I, maybe we're just so focused about helping others that you need to help yourself as well. Like again, you want to make
Exactly.
sure that you're in the right mindset to do what you want to do, what God is putting you through as well. Because I
Mm-hmm.
know God did not just put you in
Yes.
there like to work you 24/7 and then you
Yes.
don't get like
Overwork
that
you,
break as well. Like you need to make sure that you're okay. So sometimes like I've started to learn to pass that same, that same mindset to other people. When they tell me how busy they are, I'm like, yo, did you take a break for today? Or like look for yourself,
Yes.
man. And it's just like it
Mm-hmm.
don't even have to be something crazy. And also self-care doesn't have to be copied. Like don't feel like your self-care needs to
Mm.
match someone else's self-care. If your
Nope.
self-care is just
Nope.
simply, you know what? I'm just gonna sit back and relax, maybe read a book, maybe
Mm-hmm.
listen to some music.
Exactly.
Do that. Don't be like
Mm.
I hate
Mm.
when people like
Or do nothing. Just do nothing.
right, like, I don't like
Right?
it when people be like, "Oh, it's now I'm gonna practice self-care," and then you go on YouTube watching like 50 videos how to do self-care. When did self-care become like a course now on terms like how you need to do it like
Yes.
this? Self-care is
Mm.
freedom. It should be in your own expression.
Exactly. What works best for you?
Exactly, man. So I definitely agree with everything that you just said, man. All right, perfect, perfect. Going on to the next question. So I want to tie it back to your organization, man. I wanted to know exactly how did that start and like what became just the mission statement for your organization that exemplified the work that you're doing right now.
Right. So my organization, like, really started in the pandemic. Like, I was working for an organization, shout out C Center for Young Black Professionals, and we were doing surveys. We really wanted to know that, the young people that we're working with, what they were going through in the pandemic, what was like a major need. And through that survey, it was like roughly 230 young people. Through that survey, the results came back, and it said that the three things that young people were struggling with was employment. The second thing was food, and the third thing was mental health
Mm,
during the pandemic. So I know as an entrepreneur, you are paid to solve people's problems, right? You find a need and you meet that need. So I said, okay, I know so many people, especially family and friends, were dealing with mental health challenges, and no one wanted to speak about it. They were just suffering in silence. And also, I wasn't equipped really with that knowledge to support someone. So I was just like, yo, see people just deteriorate mentally. And I went through a course called the Community Healing Project, where I was trained around mental health. And we went into our communities. We were trained to go into communities and facilitate mental wellness workshops. And then I said, okay, this is amazing. Why don't I take a lot of this concept that I learned and my lived experience, and why don't I start that company and introduce it to the world? So I end up doing that due to losing a job myself, and then the company just really became successful because organizations, nonprofit, grassroots, and tribal organizations found a need. They're like, yo, so many young people are dealing with these mental challenges and we don't know how to support them. So they called me as the expert, the guru to come in, and organizations just started paying me. And, the company became successful where I took some of that money and I wrote a book. And I was like, okay, what am I going to really write a book about? And I'm, as you know, I receive revelations. I have a strong relationship with God. And he brought me to a scripture and it said, don't be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And when I read that scripture, it stood out to me that change and transformation really comes from your mindset,
Mm,
right? If you change your mind, you change your life. So I said, hey, change starts in the mind. That's the perfect. I noticed when my mindset changed when I was going through my struggles, and I made the 360 when I was dealing with mental health, and I got arrested and I had depression and I was gonna commit suicide. I realized that when I study successful people and just reprogram my mind, that my success started to take a different direction, right? My journey started to take a different direction. So, I always encourage people that change starts in the mind. Change starts in the mind. Change starts in the mind. If you can work on this and change this, everything will change for you because your thoughts controls your feelings. Your feelings controls your actions, and your actions control your results, and those results become self-fulfilling belief systems. So anytime I want to know what's the root or issue with someone's, the issue or root that or problem that someone has, you always go back to their thinking. We are the outcome of our thinking, right? As a man thinketh, so is he. So if you want a better quality of life, you have to have better quality thoughts,
mm,
right? And high income is attracted to high energy. So I'm listening to high energy people. I'm learning from high energy people, and I can see my income, high income coming my way. I'm attracting that high income frequency. So it's super important to work on this right here. Because your attitude determines your aptitude, which determines your altitude. So your attitude determines how far you go in life, and people need to really look at like how they look at things. Like, are you looking at things in a negative way or positive way? Because your mind could be your prison or your peace. And when you change the way you look at things, the way you look at things. So what I mean by that, start practicing gratitude. Depression and gratitude can't reside. You can't have that same emotion. You can't be grateful and depressed at the same time. Not possible. So when I notice people are being depressed, they're looking at what they don't have or what they didn't do. They're looking back in the past and they're having regrets. But when you are thankful and you count your blessings for everything in your life, that the fact that you have two eyes, two arms, 2 feet, you have clothes on you, you
the
live in
fact
a
that you're
in a home.
living.
Listen, the fact that you have breath, like this is why breathing is super important. Meditating is super important because it tells you that you are still living and that your assignment is not finished yet. So the fact that you're living is the greatest blessing. That means there's more work for you to do. So I tell people, be grateful, have the spirit of gratitude, and you'll be all right. You'll be good.
Oh man, no, that's a word. That's a word right there, bro. Like especially the whole gratitude
Mhm,
part. Like I feel like a lot of people tend to just focus more on the depression side of things and just not really push that much gratitude into their lives. So like for example, I've told this a couple times
mhm,
to people, but I used to have I do have a YouTube channel and I've started to get back into the folder things and posting like content. But before that, at one time, I was dropping full like videos of like episodes for the podcast on YouTube. And I was like, okay, this is gonna be fun. Cause like I never really was a social media
mhm.
guy. So I was like, okay, this is gonna be cool and everything. And for weeks, I'm talking like not a single view. I would post zeros across the board, and like at one point, I was
Jeez.
just so depressed. Like, damn,
Mm,
like is this worth it anymore? And I think it was like one time I had to really think to myself, and I think it was like definitely the talks with my family and other people saying like, do you feel happy what you're doing? I'm like, yeah. Like there's people who've come to me and said like, yo, your conversations are super dope. They really bring something special, and like you have like that such open personality. I'm like, okay, so why are you letting one little platform telling you like how you need to dictate your path? And I'm like, that made
exactly.
me think, and they're like, you know what? It's okay. I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna be good. So like I stopped doing YouTube in terms of like full videos. I just kind of left it alone. And like recently I got back into it. And again, now when I post, I don't have this urge to like look for how much views are gonna be there, like this and that. It's just like I'm just
Mm-hmm.
posting
That
because
don't matter.
exactly, and
Mm-hmm.
like even just to be like even better, like I am getting the views with the shorts now. Like things are coming up. I think in
Yes.
the last
Mm-hmm.
two weeks or such, I've been getting over 2,000 views in the shorts. So it's like,
Amazing.
bro, I'm not
Amazing.
even thinking
Big
about it. I'm
progress.
not even thinking about it, and it's just like I'm
Mm,
just doing me. So for anyone listening, like
yes.
have that gratitude for everything, even like the smallest
Mm,
things. Those are the biggest moments right there. I always say that the smallest things are
yes.
your biggest moments, and the biggest moments are just the cherry on top of the cake. That's just the extra.
Definitely. You said it best.
Of course, man, of course. Okay, cool. I want to go on to the next question. So, usually, when you're at different events and you're connecting with people, it might be like a speaking engagement, maybe you're doing a workshop, a conference. I just want to know, what is the one tidbit that you always try to share, with listeners or people who are trying to, again, get back on that path? Because I know sometimes, like you mentioned, you will be invited to do a workshop. Sometimes you'll be invited to, speak at a certain event. So then it becomes like, okay, like what can I say? Because like there's just so much to say that I wish I could say it all at once. But I have to figure out like what is that one piece that I can really give to someone that when they walk away, it doesn't feel like, okay, he just said it to just say it there. But it's like, damn, that's really gonna resonate with me, and I'm gonna take the next action. It's like I'm holding you accountable so that whatever I say, you're actually going to apply it and go to the next level.
Yeah. So definitely that is a powerful question because you really want to figure out like the impression or the impact you make on someone. And I think, words are the window that you in which you view the world, right? Your words can dictate how someone sees something, because they paint picture and they tell stories. And for me, like if I'm being honest with you, I don't really look for words to say, right? Because people don't care how much you know unless you show them how much you care. And people don't always remember what you say, but they always remember how you made them feel. So for me, I just want to bring that good vibes, that good energy, and just love people and love people for who they are. Like really, casting, any judgment, just being myself because I look at myself of as a as a bundle of energy, a bundle of love. And I know in this world with people are always, hating on each other, judging on each other, what I'm saying, or people just isolating or being by themselves or being private. I'm like, yo, when I come in your presence, I want you to feel the love of God, right? And the Bible says, He gave us two commandments, right? In the New Testament, He says, "Love God with all your might, your heart, your soul," and He says, "Love your neighbor as you love yourself." So for me, I love myself. Like I'm being honest, I love everything about me, my style, the way I talk, my mindset, and so forth. But if I love myself to this degree, I should love someone to that same degree. So I want people to feel the essence. I want them to understand that hey, there's people that really care about people. So I'm really looking to bring an experience. Like when I daps you up or when I shake your hand, like I really take time to just really embrace you as a person. When I hug you, I embrace you. You know what I'm saying? When I talk to you, I look in your eyes. I'm smiling. I really want you to feel like, wow, like he's literally a light. You know what I'm saying? He's a light. He shines. He's glowing. And I think when you're just good to people, like, it always comes back. I have phenomenal great relationships and people around me because I put that energy out. Like I really care about people and helping them and supporting them. And if there's any value that I can add, if I can put you on, I'm gonna put you on because I understand, how much people have done for me. Like I'm not in the position because I'm super dope or I'm this amazing or I'm super gifted. No, I'm in this position because there was people that say, hey, I'm going to pay it forward. I'm going to help you get to your destination. So for me, it's my duty. Like when Harriet Tubman said, hey, I'm going to save my people and go up north, she saved thousands of people. And she said that she could have saved thousands of more only if they knew that they were mentally enslaved. So, it's important for us to bring people up north, help people be free, because a lot of people are mentally enslaved. They don't have the knowledge, they don't have the information, they may not have the resources. And if I have that, I think it's my duty and my responsibility to provide it to them. So, yeah, man, that's me. And like you said, just be you. Don't try to be like anyone else. Just be original, be yourself, be you to the full. I think you will attract the right people, and people, if they truly care about you and they truly love you, they will love you for you.
Yeah, man. Just be your authentic self, bro. Just like there's nothing wrong with just expressing yourself in the way that you want it to be, just for you, bro. I know for a long time I was a person that was like I was very shy. I was very shy, and I keep telling people that
I can't believe
no,
it.
that's what I'm saying. Every time they can't believe, like Sean, you're capping. Like, no, I was the quietest person in the room. I didn't want to say nothing, and like I always had a weird way of expressing my emotions. I think the problem is that I didn't realize how special I was, or like what I could possibly be if I was just be myself. So like there were moments, there were glimpses, especially like in school, because I think that was like the most I was able to express myself. There were glimpses that I might be a little bit funny or quirky or goofy, or like I showed some personality, but a lot of times people kind of looked at me as like one dimensional. It's just like, oh, like Sean, like he's a cool dude, but he kind of does this. And now it's like fast forward years later, it's like you don't know what to expect from Sean. It's like he's kind of like this, but he also does this, and he does all these stuff in the community, and
Yeah.
he also does this, and it's like, where did this even come from? And I think because I was just so open to be myself and not worried about what other people think about me in terms of like, oh, like aren't you supposed to be like the very smart, very reserved person? It's just like, well, I can be smart, but I can also be outgoing. I can also be an entrepreneur. I can be a goal getter, a trendsetter. I can be all these things, like but like I was just so afraid to embrace it. Now that I'm embracing it now, it's just like nothing can stop me, bro. So I definitely hear you in just terms of like being yourself, and there's nothing wrong with like loving you, like love you for you. There's nothing wrong with that. If people would
Mm,
tell you that you
you're
can't love
perfect.
yourself, then they're the
Mm,
ones that need to find themselves as well. Because I feel like they're not loving themselves as well. Because like I don't get it. I personally don't get it. I'm a person where if I see someone doing good, I'm gonna shout them out. And it's not forced. It's
yes,
not something like,
big time.
okay, if I don't shout something out,
Mm,
does that make me a bad person? Let me tell you something. I know bare friends who are artists, creatives from middle school days. I still talk to them
mm,
anytime they see something they're doing good. I'm the first person to post them, and you can go ask them to your face. They'll be like, "Yo, do Sean be post?" Like, yeah,
mm,
that boy be tagging me in everything. Like, I am that person, and it's not for
yes,
show.
I
It's
love
not
that.
for the glitz and glamour. It's because it's like, yo, that's really great to see you doing your thing. That's the whole point of the safe room. I
Yes.
bring people yourself, Khalil, to
Mm,
shine a light on what they're doing. Like I said, you're doing amazing things. I'm not doing this because it's like I'm the
thank you.
host, so I'm supposed to put on a show. Like, no, this is just from the bottom of my heart. I'm telling you, man, you are doing some amazing things, and I'm just so glad to have conversations like this with you and be in the presence in such a good space with you, man.
Amen. Ashe.
Yeah, man, for sure, for sure. Okay, cool, cool. I want to get to the closing topic before we wrap things up, and it has to do with your book, which you mentioned a couple of times, but I did want to get into detail with that. Change starts in the mind. First,
You need to get one. You need to get
yo,
one, bro.
yeah,
You need to
I
get
am
one.
lacking. I am lacking. I need to get a book ASA now,
Mm,
not ASAP, ASA now.
mhm. No.
But I first of all, I love the name. Change starts in the mind. That's you hit it on the nail when you were explaining it earlier on. But man, I just want to know like how was the process of like making this book? I know you kind of went into detail on it, but like was there like any
Mhm.
writer's block? Did you feel like this was just a smooth breeze?
So the book is called Change Starts in the Mind: How to Create the Mindset You Need for Success. So it has a subtitle behind it. I always tell people that it took me 3 years, roughly 3 years, to write the book. And I say that out of those 3 years, it took me 2 years to believe that I could write the book, and 1 year of actually writing the book. And I think that belief system came from like not seeing anybody being an author. Like I seen people graduate from school, getting degrees, diplomas, you name it, right? Doing their thing, but I never seen people around me writing books. So I was entering into like an unknown area where I had to figure out everything by myself. And, it cost a lot of money. It took a lot of time and energy, but I believe it was possible because there was examples. There was very few, but there was examples. And I believe like when you're an author, that means you're authority in a field because there's author and authority. So for me, the process was difficult. It's like, yo, what is the title? Where do I start? Like, what are the sections in the book? What needs to be in it? What's the ISBN number? What's the epilogue? Like all these things. You have so much questions. You're like, how am I gonna write it? But I really want to help people out there. Like there is some shortcuts in writing a book. So I'm better at speaking than writing. I know how to talk. So I said, hey, I'm good at talking. Let me find someone who's an expert in writing and like get that support in, helping me write the book. So I hired a ghostwriter. So I spoke, I give them the idea, I give them the vision. I said, I want this picture, I want this quote. I give them everything. They just made it look pretty. They made it look beautiful. So I actually hired a ghostwriter, right? So I encourage people, if you're not great at something, if you're not the best at something, and you're stuck, don't just be there and have pride like, yo, I'm gonna do it myself because publishing is actually finishing. And most people who write a book never actually finish. I think it's like 80, 90% of people don't actually finish. And I wanted to finish. I wanted to know that when I start something, I'm gonna finish it. And I actually launched my book on my birthday, February 11th of, last year. I had like a birthday book launch and it was just amazing, right? Sold all my books during that book launch, and continue to sell books. And what I love about books is that you write it once, and it pays you for the rest of your life. Now this is an entity. This is something that I own that I can pass on to my children's children. So leave a legacy. So I want to say, tell people it's possible. The best way to write a book is find someone who already wrote a book and ask them what they did. Let them give you the blueprint, do exactly what they do, and you will eventually have the book. Simple as that, right? And if you can't do something, always hire the help. Always delegate. Always, find someone who knows how to do the thing that you can't do. And that's how you'll continue to make progression.
Wow, man, that's interesting to hear, especially how like for those 2 or 3 years, it was just like just thinking, just like, oh, is this actually going to work and everything? Is this all the pieces gonna fall into place? And then actually taking that year to like write it out and everything. And again, like mentioned the ghostwriter, like, I'm glad that you mentioned that because I know a lot of people, like you mentioned, they're probably would have been like, okay, I'm not gonna say I got a ghostwriter. I'll just kind of play it off like,
Hmm.
yeah, I wrote it. Like for
Nah.
example, so for anyone who doesn't know, the theme song for the podcast, when you hear it back, the intro and outro, it's a song that I wrote. It's called First Lady, and this was just kind of like for me. It's still a very personal track, but I just thought, what, to give it that extra spice for the podcast, make my podcast sound a little bit better, let me come up with my own song. I can't produce for shit. The first original beat, it was very like, you can tell it was like something very generic, but not enough like cleaning, mixing, and mastering. And again, my pride was like, nah, I want to make sure I produce it so well. And I was getting people's feedback, and it's like, okay, it sounds good. And I think at one point, I just stopped and I said, this ain't good. I need help. I need help. So I got into some connections with people. I met this producer. Shout out to Ricky Smalls. And at first we were talking online, and it was a little bit hard because he was a very, very busy person. So I'm like, okay, let's try to meet up in person, see things could, hash it out. And we were able to like bang out everything in one day. So like I brought the original beat,
Wow.
and I was like, okay, I'm going for a certain vibe. And he did allow me to have that creative freedom. And like there was like a specific part of the song, I think it was the guitar. Like it's very infamous when you hear the song. And it was like in a high octave. So I'm like, I don't know, like something's missing. I swear to God, all this man did was bring down the key, and when he did that, I was like, "That's it, that's it. It's perfect. that is the
Yes,
melody I
this
was
is it.
going for. So it's like,
This is the
yeah,
one.
man. So like what I'm basically trying to say, guys, get that help if you need it. Don't feel like you need to be
Hmm.
all high and mighty, like, oh, I gotta do everything
Do everything yourself.
24/7.
Yeah.
Like, get that help. And even for like my podcast and stuff, there's events I want to host. I'm reaching out to friends who are like, they host events or
Hmm.
event coordinators, event planners. But it's like, yes, like obviously I'm able to, organize everything. I think I have a really great skill of like putting pieces together, but sometimes I might need a little bit of help in terms of like actually, building the team to set things up. Maybe sometimes I need just an
Yeah.
advisor to, help give me feedback. And that's okay because I feel like, again, it's building that
Hmm.
inner circle, those people that want to see you win. Because, like, when you share these ideas, they're like, oh my God, like, this is amazing. Like, yeah, like, I want to help, man. I want to see
Yeah.
you.
They want to be a part of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly, bro.
Hmm.
So I definitely
Hmm.
agree with everything that you said, bro. Like, just sometimes you need that help, and it's nothing wrong with that.
Hmm. Definitely,
Yeah,
100%.
man. But unfortunately, that is the end of everything. I say unfortunately because I feel like we can go for another hour.
Of course, I got more in
Yeah,
me.
hey, listen. Maybe a part two in the future, man. But you're definitely welcome back on the podcast anytime, man.
Thank you, brother. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
man. For
I'm grateful for the opportunity, man. This was dope. This was amazing. It's like having a conversation with your brother, man. And hopefully the viewers are inspired and they took away a lot. And make sure you took your notes, man,
listen,
and
guys. If
and
your
start
notepads
implementing those
ain't
stuff.
full to the point where like you're writing on like a paper towel or something, like what are you doing? What are you doing?
Fixed up.
Yeah, man. Come on, come on. But Khalil, thank you again, man. Where can they find you on social media?
Yes. So you can find me on social media on every platform at Khalil Dorival, Khalil Dorival. My first name, last name, Khalil Dorival. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, you name it, same thing. You can also go on my website. Make sure you go there, cop a book. You can buy some merch there too. Or if you want to book me to facilitate a mental wellness workshop, you can do that. www.khalildrivel.com. And I'm excited to just work with any organization that would love to have me to come in and drop some gems like you experienced in today's podcast.
Of course, man. Of course, man. And for guys, if you know to follow the Safe Room Podcast, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music. Make sure to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube, like I mentioned before. Make sure you check out our website as well, www.thesaferoompodcast.com. Subscribe to our newsletter. I'm working on the January version. It's been a very busy last 4 weeks, and the reason why is because again we're setting up for the big 100 episode celebration. So I'm trying to put the pieces together. You may see Khalil there. I'm not sharing all the details, but you may see him for a specific reason. I'm gonna just keep it on the down low for now.
Keep it
Yeah,
low key.
man. But again, make sure you guys go check out all the information I'll put in the description. And like I mentioned before, I have a song, First Lady. Please go check it out. It's on Apple Music, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, you name it. It's all there. I don't want to hear no excuses saying I did not mention it, okay? Go check it out. But thank you to everyone listening. Again, we're getting closer to episode 100. Thank you to Khalil for coming on the podcast.